Fellow Toastmasters, guests, Madam Toastmaster. Going through life, we all encounter situations, things that happen to us we may not necessarily want to remember, and we certainly don't want to share. And I'm sure that none of you guys have ever experienced anything like that.
Oh, no.
Childhood, breeze. High school, please. Adulthood, sneeze. But that's okay. As long as it wasn't at the dinner table where sauce gets all over your future bride and her family. Delay. But certainly, I've had a few of these occasions that things just kind of happen. And at first, it's a little raw, and I don't want to share it. But I've learned that when I held on to these things and some more serious issues, it starts to drive me crazy. The anxiety builds up. I shut down. I hide from people. I question myself compared to others who seem so fluid and flawless everywhere they go. Now, often I'll become emberbuscent because I'll get a little shy about sharing information sometimes. But I figured out about 10 years ago, the best way to get beyond the anxieties is to actually embrace these stories and tell them. And if necessary, you put a humorous twist on it to get a laugh or two. And by telling these stories, the anxiety starts to go away. And the real me starts to come out. Because I'm not afraid of where I was and where I've been. Because you already know that story. So why not make it easy? I'll share one with you. I've told the story already about my mother passing away when I was a young child. The one thing I got to do before she had passed on that she was involved with was play soccer. Growing up on Long Island, I was a part of the Long Island Community Soccer Club. It was an all-ages thing, 8 and 9, 9 and 10, 10, 11, so on and so forth. First day out there, I get out to the field. Mom and Dad are with me. I go up to the coach, and he's got a box on the ground. How you doing, Coach? Morning, Christopher. You ready to play? Yeah! He reaches in the box, takes out a shirt, and my dad and the coach put the shirt on my head and slide it down. It's purple. Cool. Walk over here a little bit. I look on the field. There are purple shirts on the field. I know what I'm supposed to do. I run out in the middle of the field. I'm out there 5 or 6 seconds. And all of a sudden, there are whistles blowing, and people screaming, and parents getting mad, and other kids look at me like, what are you doing, stupid? Purple! I've got purple. I'm on your team. Now, I'm like 7 years old at the time, okay? So the coach and the referee come over there, and they're like, you should come over here with me. I'm on the right team. No, those are teenagers. Huh? They're older than you. They have a purple shirt on. We're going to play. They're going to stomp on your head and crush you. Ooh, don't want to do that. No. So I finally wait my turn. My team gets on the field. They have purple shirts too. The game was great. I go to a lot of practices, and I get better at the game. The problem I have is I can't really keep my feet on the ball very much. I'm not as fast as my other teammates are, so they kind of work the ball past me, and they go as fast as they can to get to the goal. Months go by, and we have a game every Saturday. One Saturday, I'm out there in the middle of the field, and it finally happens. Here comes the ball. Nobody's around me. Yes! And I kick the ball, and I'm running after the ball. And I kick the ball again, and I run after the ball. And there's nobody catching up to me. And I see the goal, and I'm going. Kick! Goal! Why is nobody cheering? Whistle blows again. Coach is waving his hand. He's come out. My teammates are starting to push me like, dummy! What? What shirt is the goalie wearing? Ooh. Purple. Turned out soccer was not my thing. So we get a little older, right? We get past those childhood things. So we're kids. We all make little food pots. No big deal. We're going to get older. That stuff is gone. we mature, we move on. Late elementary school, we started traveling back and forth in the summers between Long Island, New York, and Crystal River, Florida, where my grandparents lived. I didn't know we'd come to live here, but that's a little further down the line. Next door to my grandparents was this girl named Melissa. 11-year-old beauty. Someday I'll make her mine. I'm 12, and I'm not very crafty. But I finally get her to notice me when I'm visiting for the week I come down. Only took 2 summers. So I'm in our house one day, we're hanging out, having a good time, and as a responsible young man I was, it was time for me to go back home to my grandmother's house next door. Now, I've only been to Florida a couple times, and you guys have some weird things down here that up in the island we didn't really have, or at least my house didn't have. Sun shining out in the backyard. I'm in the kitchen, talking to Melissa, smiling, being goofy because this girl's talking to me and she's cute. And I'm saying, okay, I'm going to head off now, bye, and wave to her mom. And I go to skip out onto the back porch. Wham! Thud. Small problem. You guys have sliding glass doors that lead out to your porch. Her mother's was very clean. I didn't see it, but I felt it. Went home that summer. Never heard from her again. But life goes on. We attend high school. Proud to be able to Canto Panther. My sophomore year in high school, we're on the 4x4 schedule. That's 4 classes a day for half a year to get your full credit versus the full year-long programs that most schools are doing at the time. In December, we're getting ready for our final exam in science. We're having a review game the teacher put together. Keep in mind, we didn't have cell phones to email us or text us or anything yet, so it's still printed out on paper, cut into strips, put it in a hat. One by one, the teacher calls us up to pick a topic out of the hat, and we're going to read the question to the class, and hopefully a classmate can rescue us by answering the question. Let me describe to you what's in this classroom and what's at stake here. I am a sophomore in high school. I am looking for love. In this room are 3 of the hottest girls I've ever seen. None of which want to talk to me. But they're still there, so of course, to the boy, that still matters. You know what I'm saying? You do. You get it. Yeah. So I'm standing in front of the room. She calls me up there. I go up there and grab this thing out of the hat, and I got my piece of paper. I'm like, all right. I'm just going to read the question and go on about my day. I don't like standing in front of people. I don't like talking to people. And those 3 girls are going to point out whatever I do wrong and ruin me. I unfold the paper. I start to look at the question. Strip of paper about this big, probably a font 10. Apparently it was a typewriter, not a word processor. Unfold the paper, and I begin to read the question. Never thought as a speaker you should proofread what you're about to say. The word in the paper was misspelled, and autocorrect didn't pick it up. Now, the misspelling did not say a word at all that made sense in the English language. But when you are 15 years old, you have an audience that could make or break your future, and you want to get off that stage as quickly as you can, you start talking really, really fast. And you know how that brain does the thing where it sees a couple letters and it can make up a word for you real quick? Yeah. The word on the paper, and I'm going to slow down to 37 years old, was supposed to be organism. The first 5 letters were mixed-matched. Didn't say the other word, and yes, you're right. But nonetheless, my brain read, my mouth said, and they about died. Joe Cool went to Joe dead flat in no time. I digress. Oh, and by the way, one of those 3 is now a teacher at Christopher High School and one of my best friends, but no, we never got together. We get older. We move on. I'm a junior in high school. This time it's not really my fault. My dad and I were huge bowling fans. Bowled all the time on Long Island. as a child. Decided we got back to Florida, even though I was a teenager, I was still not too cool to go bowling with my dad. He was a good bowler, and I enjoyed doing it. So we went to a place called Manatee Lanes. You guys might have heard of that before. There are 30 lanes in that bowling center. On the right and on the left of the center are alleyways that the employees can walk down, and a little door that swings back and forth to go to the machines in the back. Ball return, pin jam, etc. My dad and I are right-handed hook bowlers. Now when I bowl, I go to my spot, I throw it towards the edge of the inside of the lane, right against the gutter, and it goes, it breaks in the middle. My dad was a little more of a showman. He takes the ball, he approaches, he goes over the gutter and throws it onto the lane coming across the right hand. Somehow it worked more often than not. Until today. We are on lane 30 at Manatee Lanes, far lane to the right. So when my dad goes to bowl, he's not hooking over somebody else's lane, which he's caught the gutter over there more than once. But now you're fending with a little piece of steel at the very end of the lane and the runway that goes down the door. It's his turn. A couple of teenagers that I know from school are over there. No big deal, they don't pay attention to me anyway. Dad goes up there. I'm standing right behind him because I'm always watching and chanting along. And he just goes for it. Boom! All of a sudden you hear clack! Ball rolls down the carpet. Now he throws at about 18 to 19 miles an hour with a 16-pound ball. That ramp goes downhill about 12 degrees from the top to the door. The door is on a spring that swings open and closes, nothing to hold it together. Typically, this wouldn't be so bad. It's going to hit the door. We know that. We see what's coming. Just as the ball is about to careen that door at 55 miles an hour, you see the door start to push open. Whack! The door bounces back, hits something, and it falls into the back of the lane. There's a body back there. Thankfully, he gets up and walks away and shakes off real quick. My dad grabs his stuff, doesn't say a word to me, and heads for the counter. I'm 16 years old, sitting there going, hi? Wasn't me. Thankfully, I'm still allowed to bowl there. In fact, I worked there a short time later. I worked there for 2 years in the back of the house. And every time I worked there, before I come out of those doors on either side, I guarantee you I am looking down the lane. And it doesn't matter if they're bowling right hand or left hand. If I'm counting one and they're right handed, I'm waiting to ensure the ball's coming down the lane before I go out that door. And I'm coming out that door as the ball's coming down the lane. Because I know karma is going to get me. So I become a patron as an adult to the bowling center. As we grow older, we mature, become adults. These things finally stop happening to us. Nothing goes wrong. We're good. We have kids. They do that kind of stuff. We make fun of them now. Sort of. So I've been doing a whole lot of bowling this year between Manatee Lanes and the Beverly Hills Center. And I go back and forth, and I've gotten to the point, thanks to Toastmasters, where I feel comfortable in building relationships, at least on a conversational level, with the people at these companies because I go there a lot. I might as well befriend them, be nice and friendly with them, just so I have someone to say hello to when I check in. The Manatee Lane Center has a young man named Rob who works there. Nice guy, cool kid. Always eager, full of energy, nice to see me, how you doing, talking, shaking hands. And he'll actually come over to me when I'm bowling with my son, talk to me. And I was going to the Beverly Hills Center, and there's one lady over there, not the best customer service for bowling you'd really want. How many games you bowling? 424. Got to pay it up front. Yeah, have fun, bye. No smile, no. She's not a bowler. There's something wrong with this woman. So I'm going over to Manatee Lanes, and I'm talking to Rob one day, and I said, you know something? There's a reason why you guys are making a killing, and that place is doing dollar night 4 nights a week. It's the fact that you work here and not that woman over there. And he's like, well, what are you talking about? So I'm describing this woman, how horrible she is and what she looks like and when she works. And I'm telling him, I'm sure she's a sweetheart at home, but she has no business running a bowling center. She is going to crush that company. And he's like, all right, cool, whatever, high five, shake hand, it's all good. I keep bowling back and forth, back and forth. I may not like her, but for Dollar Day, I'm going to go throw the ball down there. I'm down there bowling with my son one night, and the real story, this is about 3 weeks ago. I'm bowling with my son one night, Beverly Hills Center. That young lady is there, but I've gotten used to dealing with her. I still smile, I still pay the money, I go bowl. I'm in the second game of bowling with my son, and I see this guy walk in, a nice warm day, in a black trench coat and a black leather hat. You're in a bowling center, dude. Really? Who are you hiding from? Walks over to the counter with a Wendy's bag in his hand. I start to catch a glimpse of the face from the profile. Nah, couldn't be. He walks over to the counter, hands the bag over to that young lady on the counter. She leans over, gives him a good old smooch. My heart starts to sink a little bit. He turns and looks at me. I could see the name tag under the jacket from Manatee Lanes. It's Rob. That's his other half. He walks up to me, and I'm like, I can never go back to Manatee Lanes again. It's over. He's like, nah, she's a witch anyway. That's why she works here, not there. I'm like, oh. I'm sitting there like, I'm done. My bowling is over. I'm no longer welcome to either center. Marcia and I get along just great now, and Rob still lets me bowl at Manatee Lanes as long as he's not there. No, he's worse than fun. But I've learned in my experiences with these stories and sharing these stories that the way to get over the anxieties and the fears related to your embarrassing moments, your sob stories that you think most people probably don't want to know about because you want to be perfect or whatever, to acknowledge it happened, to accept it happened, to learn from it, and to move forward. Because by sharing these stories, I can tell anything I want to you guys now. And you'll be like, totally makes sense. And I have nothing to worry about because now it's out there. And the next time we go bowling, for a fundraiser or otherwise, nothing to worry about. Rob and I are still friends. Madam Toastmaster.